Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is day 25 of the March Leetcode Daily Challenge. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me on Discord. Let me know what you think about this poem. I took a nap today, so I'm a little bit just waking up. Even though it's very late in the day or evening even. I did my squats. I think I finally figured out some of my squat issues. I was using my groin a lot because of the way my foot was holding up, and now I'm just more quads dominant. And also, I've been wearing new squatting shoes. I've been kind of playing around with that, which I guess we'll see how that goes. Because I'm usually more about using my glutes, and I have very strong glutes. So I think we'll see how that goes. But I was able to squat a little bit more and just kind of make progress, and more importantly, make progress in a way that isn't painful like it was previously. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, all right, let's take a look at today's problem. We have 3394. Check if grid can be cut into sections. Okay. You're given an integer n representing the dimension of an n by n grid with the origin on the bottom left of the grid. Okay. You're given 2D array of coordinates rectangle where rectangle sub I is the form of some rectangle. Okay. Return true if I missed some cuts. Your task is to determine if it's possible to make either two horizontal cuts or two vertical cuts on the grid such that each of the three resulting sections contains at least one rectangle. Every rectangle contains exactly one section. Okay. I think intuitively the first idea, we have been doing sweep line algorithms yesterday, right? So my first intuition is going to be that that's the same idea, because really here you don't really have to think that much about it. The two orientations, right? You have to whatever this orientation that you see here, and then the other just like rotate it 90 degrees and then just sweep both ways, and if one of the ways you can do it, then you should be fine, right? And in that case, you don't even need all the rectangle stuff, because then now you're just looking at it in terms of segments and everything is literally exactly the same as we had yesterday. And I think if I'm doing a contest, I think that's probably good enough. There's nothing that really. I think the only other thing that I might look at is if what is n again? Oh, n is just n by n grid. That's a really awkward thing, but yeah. And may look at the dimensions and stuff. I think one thing that you can play around with if you really want to is that there are only 10 to the fifth number of rectangles, so you can actually do it in a more straightforward way as well, right? With a difference array and coordinates compression, right? So you definitely can do that, and you can limit yourself to 10 to the fifth times 2 number of coordinates. So, and you just do a sweep on a difference array and you'll be fine. But either way, it should be okay. Let's do it. I'm almost tempted, honestly, to just like take a look at yesterday's code and then just copy and paste that and reuse it. But we can just implement it straightforward, really, right? So here, maybe we can have just like, we know that so the first thing I want to talk about or think about, right, is that we know that we want to do what I said, which is that there is a very simple thing of like, okay, just do it. So you want to sweep from left to right? Normally like you do, and then you want to rotate 90 degrees and then sweep left and right again, right? So in that case, you know that you can write the same code basically twice. So I want to write a helper function that just solves it once and then maybe just do the rotation. I mean, you don't have to rotate, but you have to represent the data in a way, right? And here, can cut maybe. Here maybe we'll just keep it in terms of segments, right? And I don't even think n matters here, and just really controls the dimensionality, or like not dimensionality, the cardinality of these numbers, but really it doesn't really matter, right? basically you just have segments, and we can maybe assume that segments and just contains start and end, and this is exactly kind of what we were doing yesterday, right? Yeah, and then here we'll have the events, and then we can do it again with a different array. But I think yesterday I didn't really talk about it that well. Maybe, I don't know. Let me actually check my YouTube comments from yesterday, see if anyone got any questions. I don't usually do this, but I feel like, yeah, because if there are any questions from yesterday's video, then I can answer it before I if I keep going and maybe get the same ones. Okay, no comments. So okay, so I don't maybe have to do it that much, right? And here we have for start and in events, and this is not in events, in segments, and this is the same thing that we did yesterday, which is right? And then n plus 1, we want to subtract 1, and I'm not going to draw it again but I think if you are not 100% following what I'm doing, once solve yesterday's problem, or if you can, at least watch yesterday's video, and then you'll see that we're just drawing the segment, but here we're flattening it, right? Here, I mean, maybe you take a look at this one, then it's just about flattening it so that you have line segment instead, because the rectangle part doesn't really matter. It just kind of updates rotation, right? Because you can kind of reduce it by compressing into 1D. Yeah. And then now, so for T in sorted events.keys, right? So here, okay, so that part, I hope I don't have to explain, but this part now, what do we want, right? I have to be a little bit careful because, for example, for here, so the thing that is different about yesterday, and we kind of made it a point to point it out, which is that yesterday I believe we were dealing with days. So when you kind of draw the thing from like day 0, day 1, day 2, it is kind of inclusive of those. But here you can go from 0 to 2, and then 2 to 3, and the two different the number the endpoints, if you will, are different things, right? So that's kind of the way that I would think about it. And here, maybe this isn't quite right then. Well, I mean, I think there are a number of ways you can think about this one. I think as a result, and maybe honestly, I'm just a little bit lazy. I didn't want to bring out the drawing board, but I think the clearest thing is, if you're a little bit confused, in general, just draw it out. One of the drawing board, it's fine. But what I mean by that is that, so we reduced it to a 1D problem where you just have line segments, and you have to figure out if, and some of them could be overlapping. And you just try to figure out if they're, I thought I changed the colors. Why is that weird? Yeah, but you could cut it twice, right? And that's it. So okay, so oh yeah. So now if this line, say, is from 1 to 2, right? And this line's from 2 to 3, there is a way to cut it, right? I think that's the most critical part. And but if you want to also be more precise, then this is 0, say, this is 1, this is 2, right? I think there are a couple of ways you can think about handling this, but you just have to be precise about the thing is that, unlike yesterday, you do have to worry about these the endpoints first, the end portion before the start portion, because even if they overlap, as long as there's no thing, then you are happy, right? And there are a couple of ways, so a couple of ideas that you can have here. I think yesterday we were talking about doing something like this, where you have, we have the equivalent of day 0, day 1, day 2, right? So here you can kind of do something similar, in that instead you can just draw a day 0 here, day 1, day 2, kind of, right? But then instead, now you what was the idea that I was thinking of? But but just this idea that yeah, you're drawing this line, but like shift it a little bit, right? So the idea here is that actually maybe that's not a great idea, honestly. But there's another idea that you can think about is that here, instead of whatever that I just drew, you drew box 0 here, box 1 here, right? So then in this case, then now you're drawing a line that overlaps with 0 and 1, of course. But the thing is that, like I said, there is this gap that you have to worry about. Well, so even though you kind of rewrite this as like box 2, box 3 as a visualization kind of thing, that's not going to let you know that you can cut through this line, right? So what happens, or what you can do, there are ways you can do it, number of ways for sure, and maybe today I'm a little bit lazy, is that you can add a gap, right? You can add a gap to kind of, there are other ways to do it. There are probably cleaner ways to do it, honestly. But you can think about this, you could kind of split up each boxes, right? Then here, you could say maybe this is 0, 1, 0, sub 2. This is 1 sub 1, 1 sub 2, right? So then now, instead of drawing this line from here to here, maybe you just draw the line from here to here, right? So the starting points will always be in an even, and the ending points will always be in odd. And then as a result, if you draw additional things here, then you see that there will always be a gap. And this gap now should be easier to determine. There are other tricks like this. I don't know if this, I mean, this is not a necessary trick, by the way. But it is sometimes when I'm feeling lazy, I don't know, and I feel like that makes sense, then I will use it. But as a result, then here, you can find, I call them box 0 sub 1, 0 sub 2, but you can think about them as maybe 0 and 0.5, right? Like, because they're half a box. And then as a result, now you have half a box. Well, you can also just double every box, and that's basically a thing that we can do, right? That's, maybe I'm going a little bit fast, but that's the general idea. And then now you do, right? Am I right here? I think it's this, right? So then now there will always be a gap, unless I'm wrong with some of these things, but which maybe I am, honestly. So if you have a 1, you should have. So you have from 0 to 1, you would go from 0 to 2. -1. So, okay, I think this is right though, but it's very easy to mess up. And like I said, I'm not at 100% today, or even these days. I feel like these days I'm just like very, I don't know, really bad at competitive, or maybe just programming or something in general. Maybe I just need more sleep. Who knows how any of this works? But anyway, yeah. Anyway, now everything is going to be the same, right? So we have current is equal to 0, and maybe we have no number of cuts that we can make, and I think that's all we need, right? So basically, the idea here then now is keeping in mind that now that we kind of structure it this way, like I said, the starting will only be on even numbers, and the subtraction will be only on odd numbers, so you can always force a gap. And the critical thing there is that yeah, if current is greater than 0 and current minus event sub t is equal to 0, that basically is there are a lot of states you can think about, but the way that I think about for this one is that you can make a cut if it goes from if we have segments going to 0, right? Because that means that, well, previously there's at least one box, but also it went to 0. So then here we just increment cuts, and that's it. And then here we just add it to events, and that's it. And then we just return whether cuts is greater than or equal to 2. No, 1, 2. No, we want 3. I mean, the reason why is 3 is a little bit of a hack is because we want a final it's a final cut almost after the last element. And the reason why you have one after the last element is not because you would cut it there. It's because then now you can verify that there were segments before the last cut. And then that's it. That's pretty simple, right? In concept, hopefully. Not to say it's easy, that it is simple, right? Simple is not necessarily easy. But okay, then now we just have to convert our code to do this, or convert the input to do the same thing, or to use this thing. And then maybe we have like x's is equal to, what is this format we're given? Start x, yeah, just start x, right? So now, okay, I mean, I like to, I don't mind writing it out, right? Right, and maybe we can even do x and y at the same time. So we can append start x and x, right? You could probably do this in one-liners, but yeah. And then now here we can just return can cut x or can cut y's, right? And that's it, hopefully. Wrong answer again. Are the rectangles bottom left? Should be okay, but let's see, right? Maybe I am off by one somewhere. Okay, so here we have 1 to 5, 0 to 2. Oh, no, I didn't forget to sort. I was going to say I forget to sort. Well, 0 cuts is pretty sad. But is it right? You should be able to cut at, no, this should at least have 1. Current is greater than 0, and current minus difference t is equal to 0. That should at least have 1 cut. I don't get it. Because this should always at least have 0 at the end. So that's a smell. I don't know why, but yeah. So I don't know why it's just not incrementing, right? Because current, as you can see, is 2, and then it went to 0. Did I do this? Oh, I did the same mistake yesterday, actually. That's embarrassing because I don't know why. I tried to write it a different way today, and I did the same mistake despite that. So, okay. So, yeah, as you can see, then it looks good. But, yeah, we're just making no cuts. So, let's give a quick submit. And there we go. 18-20-day streak. Yeah, so the complexity here, what is this? This is all dominated by this sorting. Same as yesterday. So this is going to be n log n, right? We have n segments giving this input. And of course, this is 2 times n log n if you want to, you know, well, this is already 2 times n log n, but now it's O of n log n is the important part. And that's it. That's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Stay good, stay healthy to good mental health. I'll see y'all later and take care. Bye-bye.